All right, welcome to the New American Funding Covington, Louisiana location. Kind of a, year-end wrap-up. Is December 2nd, 2024, and talking with Scott.Finklea, the manager of the Covington branch, and just kind of trying to get his feel and get our feel for what's going on in our local real estate market.
Yeah, we saw two Fed rate cuts this year, a half of a percent in September and a quarter of a percent in November. And contrary to mainstream belief, even though we saw a Fed rate cut of three quarters total, rates actually went up. However, that's due to inflationary measures and the CPI numbers. It's kind of offsetting where we're seeing the mortgage rate environment right now. But this is all good movement into going into 2025 because we're on pace to start seeing some rate decreases. And I expect, we should start seeing that, by the first of the year. How fast are they going to decrease? We don't know. There's a lot tied to it. But, with the Feds doing the two rate decreases, that's a positive movement, to the end result, which is, a lower rate environment.
Yeah, and it appears, all the forecasting we're seeing and stuff definitely calls for 2025 to be a better rate environment. I guess a lot depends. Does it happen earlier in the year? Do we wait to kind of get in that midsummer kind of buying season, or does it filter in at the end of the year? Any thoughts on that?
I feel like there's still a lot that needs to be done with, controlling inflation. I think it'll probably be a more slower movement on a declining rate environment. And maybe we see our biggest improvement mid-year, maybe third quarter. Again, it's all predicated on, what our inflationary numbers look like. But I'm optimistic, and everything, that we're reading is very optimistic that next year should bring lower rates. The question is going to be how low will they go? But I do think that they will continue to dip into 2026. So this is good news for the next 2 years.
So what are you telling your clients? Obviously, you go back over the last, say, 24, 30 months, we've been in an upper six, mid sevens environment. So how are you, advising the clients when is the right time to refinance? I know a lot of strategy is obviously if we had a crystal ball and we knew when the rates were at the absolute bottom, we would hit it. But a lot of, the clients we're talking to say, hey, let's get you in a number. Let's identify a strike rate. And if we get it there, let's secure it. Let's get that off the board. And then we can reassess. So that way it's more of a step down approach instead of a one-time, swing for the whole enchilada and you might miss.
Yeah, and look, that's the biggest risk that someone will take is, oh, I'm going to wait till they bottom out. And look, I can give you multiple examples of people saying, 2 years ago, I'm going to wait for rates to get lower, and then all of a sudden, they were sitting at 3, and then a week later we're in the 6s and 7s. It's like buying stock. If you look at Amazon as an example at 10 in the morning and it's trading at $1,000 a share, do you wait until 3 and hope it drops to $600 a share? You don't know. You don't know what it's going to do. And you could risk losing out on the opportunity to buy your home. And, my thing is if you can afford the payment, go ahead and get it now because it's more of a buyer's market. When we get into a lower rate environment, enter in everyone else that's looking to buy, and house prices are going to be more competitive. It's going to turn more into a seller's market. And if you wait till then, yeah, you're going to get a lower rate right off the bat, but you're going to pay more for the home. So in my opinion is if you can buy it now and at least afford the payment, then you already have the home when rates dip. It's easier to do a refinance than it is to hope that you manage the clock at the right timing for rates to dip to then go look to purchase a home.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. We both see, obviously, we're still kind of in an escalated interest rate environment, but you mentioned it's a buyer's market. We're seeing a lot of value that these buyers are getting from the sellers, whether it be concessions, whether it be a reduction in the purchase price. And we know once the rates go down and there's more people entering the market, the leverage leaves. So if you can get in now and secure in today's pricing, maybe even a little bit better if you're a really strong buyer, then really all you have to do is kind of wait, like we mentioned, when the rates go down, hit a strike rate and let us put you in the best loan possible.
Yeah, and look, to add to the strike rate analogy, once you already have a home and you're looking to do a refinance, we can do a profit analysis to see, okay, how is it, does a comparative analysis on when is the right time to lock, what's the difference in rate that you need to see to save the most money, right? Because your loan amount plays a huge factor in, do you need to see a rate decrease of a point? Do you need to see a point and a half decrease to make sense of the refi? And this is something that we do with our clients on refis, is do kind of a cost benefit analysis to see, okay, hey, this is the minimum, amount of a rate decrease for you to really benefit off of doing the refinance. And refinance are easy because you already have the home. You're not trying to go get a home as well. So, having the home already is a big piece of the puzzle, so that when rates do dip, you're just simply, timing when that savings is good for you, and it's a simple refi at that point.
Yeah, and why don't you elaborate, Scott, on one of the benefits of being a new American Funding customer? Not only do we service 98% of our portfolio, so your loan stays with us, but why don't you talk about our 5-year rate pledge?
Yeah, so with us, if you purchase or refinance with us, we give a 5-year rate pledge. So if rates should dip within the next 5 years and you want to take advantage of a refi, we'll waive our underwriting fee and help you cover the cost of a reimbursement for the cost of the appraisal at closing.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it's a $500 credit at closing for the appraisal cost. So
Correct.
really, relatively, all the client's paying for is just updated title and closing services and recordation, correct?
That, and then just your escrows for homeowners and taxes, and if you're in a flood zone, flood insurance. And that can be
Well,
rolled
cool. Hey,
into the new loan, so you don't have to necessarily pay that out of pocket.
right. So let's talk about kind of what we're seeing. As we mentioned, we're in Covington, Louisiana. It's December 2024. Kind of the big elephant in the room that's been in the room the last couple of years is insurance, homeowners insurance. It looked like we were going to get really, really close there towards the end of hurricane season to possibly getting some new carriers to enter the market. Obviously, they had the two big storms in Florida, and then Helene, who went all the way up into North Carolina, Tennessee, and through Georgia. What are you thinking the insurance outlook for Southeast Louisiana and the Mississippi Gulf Coast is going to be going into 25?
So, the word is that we should see some more carriers at the first of the year. I think they were just waiting out this hurricane season, and as you mentioned, with those hurricanes this year, even though it didn't impact specifically Louisiana, it does impact insurance because we have the same carriers that are insuring other states as well. Um, there has been some good movement. We're seeing some improvement with the age of the roof. When this all first changed with insurance, the age of the roof couldn't be more than 5 years old, to even get a reasonable insurance quote. And that was on limited carriers. They're now having carriers come out saying, we'll give you the age of the roof up to 15 years and not have to deal with escalated insurance costs. So that part's gotten better. We just need to have some more carriers enter the market to kind of help create more competition. I think it's a slow, moving asset in our favor with the cost of insurance. I think, though, with our new commissioner in place for Louisiana, I think that that's positive. With what he wants to do and noticing what the setbacks are, it's just going to take some time. But I do feel like it's gotten a little bit better and not so aggressive as it was right when it first came out.
Well, I know in speaking with kind of our South Shore insurance expert, Jude Mancuso with Goosehead, remember he's the one that came in and was telling us when they moved to the 15-year age of the roof, which should open up a lot. As a matter of fact, we probably need to get in touch with Jude to get him, on here and kind of give us an update going into 2025. But that was huge information and good news for us going in, to the latter part of this year. So now let's take a look, again, what is your market forecast? What are you thinking going into 2025?
I think 2025 is going to pick up a good bit. I don't think it's going to be just pre-COVID type of numbers. but I think it's going to pick up a good bit. And I think it's going to start moving back into a seller's market, and as I mentioned, when you're buying a home and you're in a seller's market, you might be putting offers in on 4, 5, 6 homes before you get one accepted. That's tough. That is an emotional roller coaster. Not to mention the fact you might even have to offer more than list price in order to secure the home. So I think that could technically be the environment that we're ultimately going to see. Not so much right away, but like I mentioned earlier, as well, with rates dipping, that's going to put more people in the market. So I think that we will see much better 2025 than what we saw in 24. I think 24 was a little bit better than 23, but I think 25 is going to be a good bit better than 24.
Yeah, and you mentioned, if the market heats up, it goes back to kind of being a seller's market where there's multiple offers, and you're looking at 7 or 8 different homes trying to get your offer to stick. Kind of going back into what we were in COVID. Obviously, it's not going to be the mad rush it was then, but when you get in that situation and you get the buyer fatigue, there's nothing worse than losing the house of your dreams, but being committed to move and then kind of settling on a house. And I think that'll kind of segue us, kind of going into some highlights of 2024. I'll let you kind of start off with, the highlights here at New American Funding, what we're seeing in Covington, Louisiana.
Yeah, our NAF Cash is absolutely taking off. It's exploding at this point. And our all cash buyer program, otherwise known as NAF Cash, is a revolutionary progressive program. When you're looking to sell to buy with this program, you get approved with us up front. We allow you to go put an all cash offer in on the home of your dreams, technically before you've even listed your home for sale. So you are guaranteed when that seller accepts your all cash offer with no predications. Once they accept the offer, we close in as early as 12 days. You move in, and then when you sell the vacating home, we take this home that we just paid cash for and sell it back to you. This program is blowing up. We're seeing multiple situations where we're not only saving deals, we're saving people, as of right now, a lot of money because it's more of a buyer's market. So we're seeing a lot of price reductions because it's all cash. The other thing is, where it's going to benefit people when we go into a seller's market, now you're going in all cash and not having to spend tens of thousands over asking price to maybe win that home. With the all cash buyer program in a seller's market, you can go in all cash and you don't have to offer tens of thousands over asking price to just hope they accept your offer because it's all cash and non-predicated.
And piggyback that, one of the biggest benefits, because obviously you and me, we've been really pushing this program. We believe in it. We understand it thoroughly, and we know the value that it brings to the real estate market. But I think probably, the biggest feedback we get, and it's only going to grow going into a more of a seller's market, is that person who owns a home who has to sell it to buy because they need that equity. But when the market heats up, they'll be a little reluctant to list their house for sale because it's going to go quick. And then all of a sudden they're on a time clock. They've got 30, 45 days to go find their house. And that's where the NAV cash, I think you'll see another additional spike because you don't have to list your home. You get approved for NAV cash. You then go find the home you want. And when it's available, you put that all cash offer in, close on it, move in, then you list the house you're vacating. To me, that is probably one of the best mechanisms of the NAV Cash program. And how many times this year have you heard, man, just the convenience of the program is worth it?
Yeah, all the time, every transaction. So aside from how brilliant the program is, the main thing about this is it levels the playing field now because it changes the environment of real estate as we know it, where, in a normal market without this program, you have to list your home and then technically get it under contract and then hope you can find the home you love within the next 30 days or you're moving out and renting until then. This not only does that, but it also eliminates the domino effect. So it gives you peace of mind. You don't have to, decide to just, concede to a house that you really don't want because you don't have any time.
Right. Yeah. And to me, the biggest thing, the biggest surge we saw too with this program is obviously we're really trying to market it to the agents because it gives the agents really an extra tool or almost like an unfair advantage over the agents that don't offer the program. Um, but the one thing that we continue running into is you have kind of two trains of agents. Is you have the progressive ones who once they get it, you can see their eyes light up and they're like, man, this is going to make a difference, not only to my business model, but most importantly to my clients. I'm going to have satisfied clients. And we all know as a realtor, you want satisfied clients because what do satisfied clients provide? Referrals,
Yep.
right? And testimonials. But then, probably the hardest part, and I'll let you talk about this, is when you're talking with that agent who just has preconceived notions and doesn't want to learn anything new because they've always done it the way they've done it. And this program is a progressive, it's a game changer, and you have to be open-minded about it to understand it.
Well, you're absolutely right. And, here's the thing. We've done enough of these now that, going through every one of these closings, especially for the ones that are a little nervous about it in the beginning, when you get to that closing, they realize, oh my gosh, this is unreal. This is legitimately the best thing out there. And now all of a sudden, what's going to happen is as we do more of these and more consumers are being, it's been brought to their attention about this all cash buyer program. How do you not want to do it? And that's the thing. That's how great the program is how do you not want to do it? Because it improves your ability as a seller buyer to win the house of your dreams, close in a quick timeline if you want to. You're guaranteed the home you want. And then when you sell your home, we turn around and sell the house that we just paid cash for on your behalf back to you. You're getting exactly what you want, and you're not having to sacrifice, shortening your timeline with having to move out in one day, deal with showings and having to get out for showings. Honestly, I don't know. There's not anything at all negative about the program. But to your point, it's a little progressive and it's new. So I think it's just going to take time, for, some of these other agents to be presented with this, whether they're on the buying end or the selling end, on how incredible this is. And look, here's the other thing to kind of cap off on this. Talking to the sellers and the listing agents, when we go to these active sales, they're mind blown. And now all of a sudden, they're the ones, I want to know about this program. I want to offer this to my clients. And that's the thing. That's where the more that we close, the more it's going to take off because you're going in all cash, no predication.
Yeah, and again, you don't have to make a believer out of me. You and me have really been pushing this program, and we've just seen the excitement. It brings excitement back to the game. But another thing too is New American Funding is not just a one-trick pony with NAF Cash. I mean, we're the 17th largest lender in the country, and as I mentioned before, we service 98% of the loans we book, which is huge.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about some of the other programs that we offer. Obviously, and I'm gonna let you kind of break these down and talk about them. We have our one-time close program, our rehabilitation loan, and some 100% financing options with DPAs.
Yeah, so we do every loan product out there. And in doing these loan products, it's all done in-house. All the underwriting is done in-house. And like you said, we service 98% of our loans. We offer the most aggressive one-time close construction to perm program. Great product. FHA, 203K, 203B, which are your rehabilitation loan products. We offer a conventional rehab product. And we offer every other loan program out there, whether it's just a regular FHA, conventional VA, USDA. In addition to that, we also do the down payment assistance programs. So we've got every single product out there to offer. And so whether you're looking to do an all cash purchase or just a regular loan product, whatever the case may be, we can certainly assist you with that. And Lance, between you and I, we're over 50 years in combined experience. So as originators with that kind of background, we're very confident in how to address you with what your options are, what we want to learn from you, and what your desires are and wants and needs, so we can help present these options to you to help make it easier and more understandable to understand your options.
Yeah, and one thing you didn't cover there, Scott, that's hugely important about us underwriting our own files is the fact we don't have any overlays. Why don't you kind of cover how huge having no overlays is?
Having no overlays is massive. Just in general, from one lender to the next, could they access all these different programs outside of NAF Cash? Yes, right? So outside of NAF Cash, all these programs you can find in most lending spots, right? But what happens is most lenders and institutions, they think that the guidelines are maybe a little too low, so they want to add additional assessments, overlays to lessen the risk of the file. We don't have any overlays. So no matter what program you're going through, put it to you this way, we've got no overlays, so we're not going to ask for more than what we need, whereas in many other institutions, they're going to add overlays. And I'll give you an example of an overlay. An overlay is, the max debt to income ratio cannot exceed, 43, 45%. That's an overlay. Another overlay might be, if the credit score is under 640, then it requires a higher level of um, uh, underwriting guidelines to get them approved, when that's not the case. And we can go down to 580 without any overlays. So again, I like to say, if we can't get it done with our setup, I don't know how it would get done anywhere else, because we don't have any overlays.
Well, let's circle back to what you said too, Scott. You said, hey, with all of these programs except NAV Cash, you said that twice. Why can you go to other lenders? They might have overlays to find these programs except NAV Cash. Why don't you explain why it's except NAV Cash?
So NAF Cash is a proprietary program that New American Funding created. We created the program. In creating the program, right as COVID was heating up, the owners went to Fannie, Freddie, and VA, met with the powers that may be, presented them with this program, and they approved this program to be a product that we can have. Not every lender out there is going to be they're not going to have access to the program, essentially, because it's our proprietary program. So that's kind of a huge benefit with New American Funding, is we give you access to a program that literally no one else has access to. And again, it's so progressive and such an incredible program, that is just a massive benefit, because if you qualify for this all cash buyer program, again, it doesn't matter if you to me or you, Lance, if they do a regular purchase transaction or they go NAF Cash, it doesn't matter to us either way. It's, if you are eligible for NAF Cash, it's going to step up your offer on, looking way more appealing than any other option out there, because it's all cash.
Well, and I'll even kind of kick in, take the originator kind of side of me away, because obviously I believe in the NAV Cash program. But let's just take an advisor role in. Hey, my daughter and my son-in-law are getting ready to buy their first house, right? They're relocating. They're in the military, relocating from Oklahoma to North Carolina. First thing I told them, you're using the NAV Cash program. They can't believe how easy and seamless the process is, making the move across country and making an all cash offer on a new construction home.
It's so unbelievably awesome. You and I get excited about it because we see the benefits. There's literally not a hole in the program. It's bulletproof. And yes, there's some moving parts to it, right? But that's why you have yourself and me here to help, explain the program to the consumer and the realtors on how much of an incredible program this is and how beneficial it is to the end user, that they can get the home of their dreams without worrying, what if that house is not on the market when they finally have their house listed for sale under contract, but yeah, it's to your point, I don't see how if I was looking to sell, how in the world I wouldn't go through NAF Cash? Because I would. It would be NAF Cash all day.
Yeah, and the crazy part too is, obviously we're coming, our primary market is the New Orleans metro area. We're in Southeast Louisiana, Gulf Coast, all the way up to, Oxford, Mississippi, where we have an office. But the key thing with the NAF Cash program is, hey, it's available in all 50 states. We can help you out from our office here in Louisiana to use NAF Cash anywhere in the country, whether you're moving across town or you're moving across country. You really, before you make that leap and commit to a loan product, you definitely should give Scott or myself a call to at least learn and see how NAF Cash can benefit you. Now, as we kind of wrap up here, Scott, obviously we're in December. Kind of, man, it's hard to believe it's already been a year, that we've been here with New American Funding. Why don't we kind of sign off? Why don't you give us your best success story or scenario for a NAV Cash transaction you did this year? Because obviously what we thought when we came on board early last year, what we thought NAV Cash was going to be in, say, February, March, completely different, through the summer months, and it's just evolving. And I think we have 215, 220 certified agents across the nation that we got certified to offer this program. It's really, really fun from our side of the desk to see their creativity and how they can use the program to benefit their client. But why don't you, give us one of your NAV Cash stories from this year, and we'll do this again next year, and we'll just kind of see how it evolves.
So, it's hard to just pick out one because they're all unique,
Right.
and every one of them are success stories. My favorite one is kind of a twofer, and I can't get around explaining the twofer side of it, so I'm just going to have to do it. So I had a client who had to sell to buy. They got approved for NAF Cash. They put an offer in all cash on a property. They accepted it. Listing side accepted it. We closed, and then the listing agent loved the program so immensely, she referred one of her agents to us who was interested in buying this one particular home, but she wasn't going to do anything if she couldn't get this one home. And NAFCash got that deal done, because on NAFCash, you don't have to list the vacating home for sale until after we've accepted the offer in all cash. You moved in within the next 7 days of us paying cash is when you have to list your house for sale. That's the biggest benefit by far, because she wasn't going to do anything. She wasn't going to move at all because of the normal real estate environment. You have to list your home, get it under contract, and then go put an offer in on a new home. And the worry always is, what if the home you really want is no longer there? So many times that's the case, right? So many times. High percentage of times. So with this program, we were able to get her approved, all cash. She put the offer in, got accepted. We closed in 12 days. She moved in, got her home listed for sale, and quite honestly, I think it was a week later, the vacated home's already under contract. So it's an unbelievable program, and every one of them, as you know, it's this feeling is how incredible this is.
Yeah, and I will, and that just happened recently. Obviously, I was kind of an earshot away from that transaction, seeing you go through it, and just the satisfaction with everybody was incredible. And I think all kind of there's so many to choose from throughout 2024, right? But I think one that really sticks out is kind of a NAV Cash saves the deal or saves the day type of program. You remember we went out to the Covington Business Association event, and hey, we're trying to market this program, let the community know that it's available, and we had our little 30-second or 1 minute little microphone time. And I remember I just simply said, hey, if you have a client who has to sell to buy, you need to talk to us. And you remember the next morning, I think it was about 9:15. In walked Jeff Sonnenberg with KPG, nicest guy in the world too, man. And he said, I need to learn about this. Well, he had a client who he had his house listed for sale, and he had an accepted predicated contract. Remember, it was up at the golf course community. I think it was a nice, beautiful home, but they were about 2 weeks away from not being able to meet that predication, and they were going to lose the home. Well, and what was even better about it is our client was a veteran. So, I'm partial to that with my son-in-law being in the Marines. And for us to be able to get him on the NAF Cash program with about a 2.5 week window from start to finish and go to closing and see him pay cash for his house, and not realizing that his sellers needed that closing because they were moving to Georgia, and the house they were buying in Georgia, those people in Georgia needed that closing because they were moving to Maryland. So we were the front side of a 3-way transaction, and NAV Cash, because of NAV Cash,
Yeah.
it came in and saved the day, not only for our local veteran and his family, but 2 additional families throughout the Eastern Seaboard. So, that was just a great all around feel. Everybody was happy. And I'll never forget, after we met with Jeff here in the office and we were telling him about the program and exactly kind of how it works, I remember he looked us in the eyes. He said, "You guys need to tell people about this." And we're like, "Jeff, we've been trying. We're on social media. We're doing this. We're out in the community, the Covington Business Association. We're at every event." So, that to me, when I look back, and that was kind of the cherry on top with all the transactions we did this year.
Yeah, it's amazing. And, when you go through the program and you see the legitimacy of it and the benefits of it, it's a no-brainer. And, again, if you're selling your home and you get predicated offers and one's all cash, you're going to look very seriously at this all cash option. And it's a quick closing, no predications. Again, absolute no brainer. And it's fun. It's fun. It's rewarding that when people go through the program, you're not seeing just excitement on the buyer's end and the buyer's agent. You're seeing excitement with the selling side too. Everyone is amazed by it. It is an absolute game changer. If you haven't heard about NAF Cash, I'm telling you, it's worth your time. We'll put a link below in the thread for you to go check out our all cash buyer program. It will go over every single step so that you can watch it on your own time and see if it's something for you. Watch it, take a look at it, give us a shout with any questions. But it's definitely a extremely progressive program that is just so needed in the real estate industry.
Well, and Scott, I've been doing this 31 years. I think you're getting ready to go in your 27th year. How many times have you been to closings where the listing